Hey everybody, Robert Douglas here. It's Friday and this is the Deploy Friday webcast from Platform.sh, where I get the incredible honor of talking to wonderful guests that I bring onto the show to talk about the internet. And as you can see, I have an incredible lineup of guests with me today. They're actually all in the wings waiting to come on, but I thought I'd give a special introduction to them first. So at Platform.sh, we have the honor of having really great customers, to be honest. We love working with our customers and we love how we've grown as a company, and some of the customers have grown with us through that time since early beginnings. And as I looked around inside the company as it was growing, I came to realize that quite a few people on the team had joined Platform.sh after being one of our customers. And I thought, well, golly, why don't we just get all those people on one call and we can talk about the experience of being a Platform.sh customer and then joining the Platform.sh team and what that was like. And are there commonalities in the experience? Were the expectations somehow met or different? What does it look like from the inside rather than the outside? And then you get to hear some of the customer journeys that other people have had. And I've got a great set of people, team members, former customers with you today, and none of them know who I'm going to call on first. So I'm just going to pick randomly and bring somebody on. I'm going to go for Travis. And here we go. Travis, welcome.
Nice. Do I win a prize?
Were you surprised? You're first.
No, I saw that coming.
Oh, did you? Okay. Okay. So Travis Raup, people, I'm going to let you introduce yourself. Please tell us first what your role is at Platform.sh and how long you've been with Platform.sh.
Yeah, for sure. So I've been with Platform.sh for 2 years. I am in the support team. I'm an elite support engineer, and I came on originally as a technical account manager in our customer care department. So
Awesome. So as a former customer, what would you tell us about that? Can you tell us what company you were working for, what kind of project you were doing? How did you even become a customer?
yeah, right. So my background is mostly as a web programmer, and I worked for a chromatography company. So it was a manufacturing of laboratory equipment, chromatography supplies, and I worked in our marketing department. And our web team was 2 developers, so 3 of us in total, and we did about $1 million in sales in e-commerce. Our CMS system was called Easy Publish,
Easy
but
Publish.
they've been rebranded to Abexa, so it was their original product. It's not Easy Platform; it was Easy Publish, and so we had an e-commerce module that came onto it, and it was just time to update. And we really liked the system. We really liked the Symphony framework, and we started doing an investigation, and we saw that Easy Publish at the time, Abexa partnered with Platform.sh and offered a pass system, and that's what really led us down that route to become a customer at the time.
So you actually worked hands-on with the Abexa cloud at some point.
Correct. Yep, we were one of the first customers, I believe. We were one of the first 10 or 15 customers to sign on with the Platform Abexa relationship. So we were an early adopter.
Was it all smooth sailing?
Uh, I'd say there was a few things that caught us off guard with the dedicated product having to. We were part of that original generation too, so having to wait for certain things to be enabled. Kind of that decoupled experience where you push a change and it doesn't actually apply to the staging right away, even though we sold
The bad old days.
the old days. So that was our biggest bottleneck, was still having to send support tickets through to get like an upgrade on a certain thing, like a solar version change, stuff like that.
And then if you've been here at the company for 2 years, then you experienced when the bad old days went away and those changes got replaced by the newer technology where you don't have to wait for all of that.
Exactly. Yeah, that was really nice to see those improvements made in the last couple months, to no longer have to sit around and wait for that kind of change to go through the support team. And it's just a more seamless workflow transition for the customer.
And what was going through your mind at the moment you decided to apply for a position at Platform.sh?
So the long story short is the company decided to stay on a .NET solution, so it was a Windows shop. So we kind of canceled our contract with Easy Platform and Abexa. So Platform.sh, it was an Abexa issue, not a Platform.sh issue. So the company decided to stick with the .NET platform, and since I'm not a .NET developer, I didn't have a job anymore, so I became a PHP guy. I've always been a PHP guy, and John Grubb, he was my technical account manager. He was my onboarding guy. So I stayed in contact with him, let him know the situation, that I was kind of looking for a new position to stay in this community. As a developer of using Platform.sh for 2 years, I really, if I was going to build a product, it would have been this. I just want it simple as a developer. I want to start building um, applications. I spent a lot of time wearing two hats, having to do system administration, not really adding any value added features to the site we were building. It was more of a keep the site alive, firefighting. So that was the cool thing about Platform.sh was, I don't have to worry about certain things. I need to upgrade a version of PHP or test something in another branch. It was just really, really simple. That's the way I describe it to everybody. If I was going to build something, this is what I would have built.
Wow, that's great. And tell us just a bit about what your job is like day to day these days.
Yeah, so today I'm in a brand new role, so I'm working with our elite level customers, and so it's really exciting. So I oversee our elite level customers and then their ticket queues. I work a lot of triage, any kind of incident management, and just try to stay on top of things in that realm. So.
And do you see customers, when you work with customers, do you kind of see yourself like in their shoes at some point? Do you
Yeah.
have a special level of empathy for, if they're confused or they're having some problems?
Absolutely. I'd say that's my biggest weakness probably as a platform, because I would probably take the side of the customer first, just because I've been on the other side of the wall. So I know how frustrating it can be to wait or to be stuck on something. And then that could be your whole day down the drain. So yeah, I definitely, as a developer and a formal customer, I definitely tend to relate and empathize with our customers almost daily.
Amazing. So thank you for that. I'm going to keep you on for a second, and I'm going to bring somebody else on real quick here. Hey, Paul.
How's it going?
Remember, these guys don't know when I'm going to bring them on. It's a surprise every time.
That's right.
Paul, do I understand that you worked with Travis before you actually joined our team?
Yeah, I worked. And funny enough, John Grubb was our TAM before Travis was our TAM, our technical account manager.
Who was better?
Oh,
wow, that's a tough. I can't. I'm not going to answer that one. They were both
Smart
fantastic.
man.
Let's put it this way: they were both fantastic.
There you go. Best answer.
Good
Best answer. So I just wanted to make that link because it's quite interesting, because in the web of people that we have lurking in the wings, we've got several like cross relationships of people who worked together either outside of Platform.sh or somebody inside, somebody outside, and this was one of those connections. So Travis was your TAM while you were. What were you?
Oh, so I worked for the University of Missouri. And I was actually I worked there for 20 years, and in 2015, into 2015, beginning of 2016, was hired specifically to move the campus infrastructure to some cloud provider. And so I was in charge of developing the strategy and the architecture for our WordPress build out on Platform.
How many sites is that?
So the university has about 2,000 sites in total. The WordPress sites is somewhere around 300 or 400.
Mm-hmm. And Travis, was this a hard job for you?
No, it was an interesting job. I loved it. It was, they did WordPress and Drupal. It was like a wide range of different projects. It was very fascinating. I would say they were probably one of our largest. We would refer to them as fleet customers. Mm-hmm. So we kind of treated them like, not guinea pigs is probably the wrong way to say it, but if they had so many projects in so many different regions and so many different versions that if something went wrong, it's not them just saying something went wrong. It's like you got to take a legit look at it, because these guys more than likely are not, like, they know what they're doing. It's probably serious.
Now, Travis, your company and project ceased to exist, or at least the project did when you joined. But Paul, your Mizo people, they're still chugging along with lots of sites. Do you have contact with them still?
Oh, absolutely. Every day. Actually, every day I'm in contact with at least one of them from the old team.
Do they ping you for tech support?
Yeah, they might ask me for stuff, or I might send them back stuff I found. Like, oh, hey, I found that Platform does this, and it could really help you. Make sure to check this out.
Cool. Thanks, Travis. I'm going to take you out for a while, but stick around. So, Paul, what's your role now?
I am a developer relations engineer.
What does that mean?
That means that a couple of things. It means part of our job is to kind of be that connective tissue between product and engineering and marketing, and making sure that are helping the marketing team use the right words and technology and lingo with the more technical focused customers, making sure that product and engineering understands what marketing has been hearing for clients, and kind of translating that into more of a technical aspect. We also try to make the developer experience better, try to reduce that time to value between when a developer starts and when they can actually have something of value that they're using and doing.
Mm-hmm. Quite a shift from your previous role, wouldn't you say?
A bit, a big chunk, because we started with Platform at the end of 2018, so beginning of 2019. And given our plethora of WordPress sites, we had a lot of multi-sites. So I had to do a lot of development of automation for us to be able to manage all those sites. And I saw an opportunity in that. This was part of the reason that I moved to Platforms. I saw an opportunity where I could make other developers' lives quicker and easier and better using Platform. And so that was one of my reasons for moving from my old job to the new one, is that I wanted to take what I had done and learned at Mizzou using Platform and give that to Platform and help out other customers of Platform.
Do you have any examples of that you could draw on, like places you've either had a chance? I mean, how long have you been with the company? That's important to establish.
2.5 months.
So you're a newbie here.
So I'm still a newbie,
a freshman.
But I've already started to work with the team and coming up with some areas that I can help in. WordPress multi-sites are challenging to set up, and they're particularly challenging when your domain, that URL, is ephemeral and changes as you move from a development server to a different development server to staging to production. And so working on automating all of those pieces to make it very smooth and very easy for people to use the product.
That's an interesting example that you bring up, because while it is challenging and there is some complexity, and there's for Drupal, there's in Magento and several other systems, there's the same capability where you can have many URLs coming into one code base and presumably one database or multiple databases. How does WordPress do it? Is it a database per site?
No, it's one database.
One shared database. Okay, so they do like table prefixing or something like that.
Yeah, and all the domain information is actually in fields in the database.
Oh, yuck.
Yeah, so when you try to change that domain, you have to go and actually change the database.
Oh, that's gross. I'm sorry I asked.
Well, that's what I mean by it's challenging, So it's an area of opportunity that we can do some innovation in.
Yeah, it's an area of opportunity where you can just use Drupal. It's much cleaner.
Well, there were many days when I was doing this where I was like, forget it. We're scrapping WordPress altogether and we're going to Drupal.
I'm feeling a little snarky today. Sorry, WordPress. Sorry, Matt. I know you're a fan of the show, but I'm sorry I stepped on your toes today, friends. So yes, and the cool thing about that specific topic, aside from WordPress yuckiness, is that that's actually really hard for anybody, right?
Oh,
like if you want, let's reframe the problem. If you have multiple domains coming into one site and you want to instantaneously branch off and have a development environment newly set up where you can plausibly test all of the different sites with their different subsets of functionality and different permissioning and different content and different look and feel, they don't have their domains anymore.
Right.
the one trigger which was going to do that switching, the incoming domain, has been taken away by putting it onto a staging environment. So you have to also account for some sort of domain rewriting on the generated URLs and do a mapping inside of the system to let the system trigger its domain switching functionality.
Mhm.
And in Drupal, that's the sites.php function or file, which you can populate with maybe 10 lines of code and it's done on Platform.sh. But in WordPress, it sounds like you have to wave magic wands.
Yeah, so it's a lot of mapping original domains to new domains and then parsing them and then trying to get them to all line back up.
And prayer.
Right. But it worked. I mean, so
Good.
the university has, I think when I left, had about 5 or 6 multi-sites, and they all function. I mean, the developers were able to bring up development instances and have all those domains changed for them so that they can fully run testing against the product or the development code, knowing it's going to be exactly like it is when they move it to production.
That's amazing because there are very legitimate use cases where the multi-domain, multi-site approach achieves a cost level that is incomparable.
Yep.
So, pennies, marginal cost of pennies for another site compared to spinning up, new containers. Yeah, cool. Did you work with anybody else who's on the call? You can see all the faces down there before.
No, not before moving over. But I did a lot of work with Jessica and John Grubb and Damien and
John Grubb. He's a recurring theme on this call. Should get him up here. Cool. Thanks, Paul. I'm gonna bring somebody else up. They better turn their camera on. Hey, Tyler.
Hey.
That was just in time camera turning on. Good job.
Magic. I got these keybinds down.
Yep. How you doing, Tyler? Who are you?
Good. Well, I'm Tyler. I've been with Platform.sh for about a little over a year now. I'm a growth product manager. It's actually my second role in the company over this year. I originally started out as a manager of growth marketing.
What's the difference?
So with marketing, I was just strictly focused on marketing, a very similar role, but experimentation in order to inform data-driven decisions in hopes of growing. And my focus was on self-service, and my time spent there was mostly on the trial period. So growing the number of accounts that are being created, improving the conversion rate, and in the product management role, it's the same thing, experimentation to inform data-driven decisions, but kind of at a broader scale, influencing the product in order to, whether it could be grow the user base, grow revenue, or, just making the product experience better for the user.
So it sounds like you're more empowered to affect change. And when I hear all of those, you used marketing terms like improve conversion, but I hear help customers find what they're looking for.
Yeah.
Right, because that's
I like the way you put it.
that's actually what it turns out to be. If we give people a trial experience and they don't find what they're looking for, then it's not a conversion. So it's helping solve the right problems. What were you doing before you joined Platform.sh?
Yeah, so I worked for a company called Monin ahead of working for Platform.sh, and I was the director of digital applications, so much more technical and developer-oriented role. And I started out as a Magento developer there and helped grow the internal applications there where we started doing more things in-house. So we, as Platform.sh would put it, we had a fleet of websites. So my role was kind of making sure, those worked well, development was efficient, and, that we kept things online.
Now, Monin, aren't they the people who make the flavored syrups that you put in coffee?
Yeah. So if you've been to many name brand restaurants that I won't name, and you've had a flavored cocktail, tea, you probably had Monin product.
What are all the flavors you can remember?
Oh man, don't put me on the spot here. The VP of marketing there might might hold a grudge against me. Oh man, vanilla. If I can only name vanilla, when there's like
Caramel.
150 products,
There's caramel. Isn't there like a
caramel?
a minty
watermelon,
type?
strawberry. Now I'm just going to
Watermelon.
name fruit because I know they have
You
all
wouldn't
these
put watermelon in coffee, though, would you?
No, and it wasn't focused on just coffee. That's so like vanilla stuff like that. Caramel is going to taste great in coffee. But then there's also sparkling water that you might want to flavor.
Oh wait, you got to be careful when you do that, Travis. I can bring you back on. What were those flavors?
He went to the website.
Yeah, I was looking at the website. Orange spritz syrup, pineberry syrup, dragon fruit. They have so many.
Wow. Okay, I'll let you rule over those, Travis. Thank you. What was your favorite though, Tyler? You must have gotten some like.
Oh man, I would say vanilla or caramel. I mean, it's kind of like the go-to because I'm a coffee guy.
They go well in coffee. Okay,
so,
sorry for that culinary diversion. So Magento sites and what was your experience with Platform.sh that made you interested in the job offerings?
Yeah.
What was the connection between you doing deployments on your Magento sites and looking at the job board? Yeah,
so the need that we had at Monin. So Monin's this big global company, and I worked for the U.S. office, and the need here was we had a very small internal team that could actually do this kind of development work. So it was either when I first started, it was either I do it or we outsource it to somebody. And so I needed something to help me, just in general, prevent bugs from getting into production because, the dev environment differed from production environment, because otherwise I would spend all my time doing bug fixing and not innovating on the website and all of that fun stuff. And so the biggest draw for me was getting staging and development environments that I could depend on to look like production. And I tried going like an AWS route first because, I'd been sold on the whole, I'll get this wholesale, it's going to be cheap, and you've got cloud scaling and all this. But I wasn't prepared to do that work myself. So initially bought into that. I spent a lot of money there. And my learning there was that, and maybe this is just my own personal take on it, was that AWS and solutions like that, I think, are better left for companies like Platform.sh or like even like a Netflix that need like their own custom kind of, they're these kind of like unicorns and that they have this unique architecture that they need to support.
I wish Platform.sh was already a unicorn. Maybe soon.
And so I'd rather let somebody like Platform.sh manage that infrastructure and staging and all that fun stuff and scaling. And so that was one of the key decision makers for me for jumping on Platform.sh. It was that I bid on the staging environments, and then I learned that I really loved, oh man, I can sync my database via the CLI really easy. So I've never been like this, bash master. So memorizing rsync commands and SSH here and there and keys for syncing databases and downloading mounts, it just all became simplified. And it also ended up saving us money when we started outsourcing more of the work to agencies. As my role changed in the company, I can more easily onboard them and go, hey, guys, take a look at the README. You'll be up in like 20 minutes. I've already added your accounts to Platform.sh. And so we're saving money there because agency developers are spending less time.
Well, that's something we see throughout all of the fleet stories that Paul and Travis were talking about. For example, especially a company that has like a multinational presence like Monin probably does lots of work with different agencies in different time zones in different countries with different design teams, and like unifying the approach that they all bring to deploying is hard.
Right. Yeah.
So, but thank you for that. What for you personally then was the trigger to like affect a switch for yourself?
Are you asking in the context of me making the move from my previous employer to
like what about the role that you were moving to was attractive? What did you see on the website that made you decide to apply for a job?
Well, actually, at the time, there weren't any job listings on the website. COVID hit, things changed, and
COVID, we put on a hiring moratorium. It's true.
And so I had the opportunity to look around a bit, and I'd really appreciated the initiative that the marketing team at Monin had taken and the impact we had working closely with the marketing team on scaling our direct-to-consumer business as much as we did while I was at Monin. And so I found myself interested in how do I get more involved in product growth and in that world, in the marketing side and the product side, and so the first thing I did was reach out to a contact at Platform.sh, and I said, hey, is there an opportunity for me to take my technical experience with the product and help get involved with the product, whether that be in marketing or the product management side, and do something great there. And what I've learned is that Platform.sh really loves having technical people on various teams that are traditionally non-technical, whether that's marketing, whether that's the product management team, or even if it's just like the user research team. And so I think Platform.sh is lucky that they probably have a lot of people that have technical experience that would be happy to take a role like that. And so that was kind of a long-winded answer to your question, but that was it. I was looking for a change to where I could be more involved on the product and marketing side and use my technical experience. And Platform.sh was more than happy to use my technical experience and put me in one of those roles.
Absolutely. I'd say it's working out great.
Yeah.
You and I worked together on a couple initiatives early on when you were on the marketing team. And I was really, really happy that was something somebody was paying good attention to. Yeah. So thank you. I'm going to bring you on. Don't go away. But let's see who else we've got here. I'm going to reach in the hat and draw out a new victim. And it's Roland. Hi, Roland.
Hey.
So where are you?
I'm in Hungary.
Hungary. That's really far away from like every place, isn't it?
Not far away from Hungary itself. Yeah.
That's self-referential too. Yes. Hungary's lovely. I hope that someday I can travel there again. So let's do the same type of introduction for you. What's your role at Platform.sh? What do you do with us?
Yeah, so I'm a account engineer, which means I worked on the systems that are basically our customers are using when they are interacting with us, mostly, which is the so-called console and the underlying systems that drives billing, account management, and all that sort of stuff. And so I'm basically a backend PHP / Drupal developer. I've been that for years and years and years. That was my main. I did a lot of other stuff during my career, but Drupal and PHP was the longest, and I'm still doing that.
Well, Drupal and Hungary go together like a hand and a glove. I mean, my goodness, some of the most famous Drupal people of all time are Hungarian, with huge contributions and at least one major DrupalCon there. Yeah,
I met some of them.
Yeah.
So yeah.
All right. And what were you doing as a customer before joining Platform.sh?
Yeah, so I was a customer 2 times. First one was like 6-7 years ago, and I was working for a digital agency, and we wanted to run our Drupal-based huge system somewhere. and that's where we moved to Platform, and we were like kind of like a beta tester at that time or something like that.
So you were really early.
Yeah, so we had kind of like I think early access. We would so that was an Australian company. We were I think the first or one of the first Australian customers for Platform.sh, and we used now it's called dedicated. I think it was called I don't know, Enterprise or something like that.
Yeah, we called it
at that
Enterprise at the time. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was a totally different thing than the normal customer experience, and so yeah, I was the tech lead of that project, and then the second time was like a bit more than a year ago, when I was doing kind of some kind of freelancing, and I was working on a Drupal commerce website, and I for a Hungarian client, and I wanted to find a good hosting for that website. It was hosted in a cPanel based something before, and I built that as well years and years and years ago. And I did a rebuild, and I wanted to run in a more solid and more developer friendly and easier to use hosting platform. And I started to look for options, and Platform.sh was one of the options. And I just gave it there's a free trial, so I just gave it a free trial, and then like, okay, I know a bit about that, and because I used it, let's see what's the difference. And I was very surprised. Like there's a wizard. So when you first sign up, you can just follow those steps, and all that makes sense. And I literally could be up and running like from 0 to hero within a few hours. And it was like, oh, okay, that's great. And I originally loved and I still love the idea of the Git based environment. So Git branch based environment means that when you can just basically branch off your code and run those versions on their own cloud environment. It's like easily, and not just talk about staging and production, but you can do other environments as well. And I love the fact that it's very easy to update the site, because with Drupal, it's different. Like WordPress can update itself, Drupal cannot update itself, like at least not the core. And so I think it's especially when when you have lots of clients. I don't have, but you don't have too much time to just like run the updates on a weekly basis. So and with Platform, it's just so easy, because you can just push your code and everything works.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, if you're using a composer-based workflow, which
yes,
I presume you were, then it's
yes,
composer update, then check that into Git, and you're done.
That's it. So
nice.
and I'm still a customer in some sort, because that website is still running on Platform.sh, and it's actually me who's the main account owner, and I'm paying, and I'm just the old customer just pays me. So yeah, I'm still a customer.
So I have a question for you that's a little bit different than for the others. I'm not going to ask you about the flavors of coffee additives. As a person who's working on a team sitting in Hungary, and we are all remote, do you have a lot of contact with a lot of people in the company on a regular basis, or is it really limited? I'm really curious. I know for me, I have contact with, I don't know, a couple handfuls of people on a regular basis, and I sometimes crave more. Is it same for you?
You mean in person or online?
Well, I mean, definitely online, because
Yeah.
there's no way that Travis and Paul and Tyler and I are going to get together for beers anytime soon. Sadly.
Yeah. I have. So our team is quite big, and we have daily meetings. And on top of that, so the regular daily meetings, I also used to talk to to people, because I'm that kind of person who don't like to chat in like typing. If there's something that needs to be discussed and it's and you cannot discuss within 2 or max 3 rounds in Slack, that's where I say, okay, let's jump into a meeting or schedule a meeting, and we can talk about that, because it's just easier for me. It's easier to solve problems like that.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I totally agree. Yeah, I was just wondering. We've got another one of our team members who's going to come on soon, Vinnie, who's maybe the most isolated because he's like alone on his team. So a team of one, working for a team of one. And I was just wondering what your experience is like. Is the company, are we social enough for you to feel like you belong to a group?
Yeah, definitely. It's it's hard when you do remote working. I do this for more than, I don't know, 7 years for now. So I got used to it, and I know that it's hard to, and you cannot compare with a regular workplace. You cannot. This is totally different. It's not for everyone. But if you enjoy this, like I enjoy the luxury of having an entire office here, and I'm alone and no one can, like, except my daughter. But so like I can be alone and I can just focus on my work. I can shut off all the channels, like quit email, quit Slack, quit everything, and I can just focus. And then I don't know, go out to chat with my family and just come back and things like that. So it's totally different. And I enjoy this, as well as I enjoy talking to people when needed. So it's more like a controlled environment for me.
Sounds like it's working
That
well.
makes sense.
And last question for now. What are some things you learned about Platform that surprised you in a nice way when you got to look at it from the inside?
Nothing really.
Oh,
Honestly.
okay.
Nothing. I mean, you would say, you would think that maybe there are some internal secrets that
I know. I'm sad that there aren't more like Easter eggs. We've got this domain Platform.sh, and I tried for years to get approval to have Platform.sh/OES, which was nothing but a full screen image of like platform shoes in space or something like that. It's not too late, marketing team. We could put that there. Yeah, so nothing. Okay. Well, I was just fishing. Worth a try. Thank you, Roland. So I'm gonna move on, but I'm gonna bring you back, so don't go away. All right, who's next? Jérôme.
Hey there.
This is our third webcast together, my friend.
Yes, indeed.
The first time we were just talking about this, you were Lord Vader, and I was a stormtrooper. Can you do that French accent again?
Yes, of course I can.
It's on command. Wow. Okay, so like we work for a French company. We've got like a lot of French team members, and some of them have very wonderful French accents. Jérôme has lost most of his, sadly, but he can turn it back on. It's great.
I can put that on anywhere you want, anyone you want.
Don't stop. I love it. I just love it.
I just can't stand it.
You are an outlier in this group because your path to Platform.sh was a little bit different than everybody else's. Would you like to explain who you are and what your role is and how you got to Platform.sh?
Sure. So I initially was part of Blackfire.io, which was acquired by Platform.sh back in July 2021. So I'm a developer advocate so now I'm working on the DevRel team at Platform.sh. And well, my first touch with Platform.sh was mainly as a a tiny customer through Symphony Cloud. And because we were
You
using
put all of their sites on Platform.sh eventually, right?
yeah, now everything is on Platform.sh anyway. And well, so I had very little experience with that, except with integrating Blackfire into Platform.sh and all everything that uses Platform.sh, including Ibexa or Symphony Cloud for for the two of them. So I come from the Symphony world. I used to work for Easy Systems, so I was listening to Travis, so that he was using Easy Publish, and then converted to Ibexa on the Symphony part. That was really funny to hear, because I was part of the engineering team at Ibexa, developing the product and switching to Symphony. That was nice to know. And well, after that, I've been a consultant, an expert in with my own company, and then I started to work with Christoph at Blackfire, and that's it.
Yeah. So, what have you learned about Platform.sh since joining that might have been hard for you to see or know from the outside?
What have I learned? A lot of things. It's bigger in the inside, right? Just like with the TARDIS. It's like the TARDIS.
Platform.sh is like a TARDIS. It's great. We can do everything the TARDIS can do too. Plus, we can clone the TARDIS.
Yes, exactly. So I expected that it was way more complex than what you're using with a .platfire.yaml platform.yaml file. So I learned how it worked in the inside, how big it was in the inside, but also that the engineering team and everyone in the engineering team is really keen is very welcoming suggestions and even patches sometime. I mean, I think my first official day at Platform, being a platformer, was doing a merge request with Damien Tournou.
Yay! Who's the CTO?
Yeah. So because I think we have this issue there, and he opened his laptop and said, "Oh yeah, indeed, we do have an issue. Let's open a merge request." So that was fun.
So very pragmatic, collegial attitude, collaborative. Is that what I'm understanding?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's good to hear. That's my impression. I'm not on the engineering team, but my impression is that it actually works really well together. And that's good to hear, at least some anecdotal evidence of the same. And I mean, if we could just dwell on Blackfire.io a little bit. We even had a whole episode on it just recently, but how would you say things are getting on? How long has it been since the merger?
It's been like less than 6 months.
Less than six, right?
Yeah, the merge was really quick. I mean, for it's not even, we wouldn't expect such speed.
Well, I mean, if we were to like reenact the whole thing, it was like, I like you. I like you too. Want to get married? Mm-hmm. Right?
Dun, 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 dun.
And then that was it.
Exactly. And I think it's getting pretty well. I cannot talk for the whole team, but I know that they're really moving forwards and really fast. So that's it means that for the whole company, it was and it is a success. As far as I'm concerned, well, I'm well where I am in the DevRel team. So
And we have new customers who are coming on who are choosing packages that have everything included, the
yeah,
integrated product. So that's also a good sign.
indeed, and this new product package is really promising, and this is the after less than 6 months, a very good sign of good marriage.
Yes, exactly. Babies.
Exactly. Yes.
Cool. Well, don't go too far away. I'm going to bring you back at the end, but I'm going to move on to our. I think it's going to be our last guest for the evening. Welcome, Vinnie. You're on mute. You're on mute. Welcome,
It
Vinnie.
had to be me, right? Thank you. Hello, Rob. How's it going?
Great. So Vinnie and I are on the same team. So I'm going to ask Vinnie a lot of questions that I know the answers to. But let's pretend I didn't know all those answers, and let's do the same routine. Vinnie, what's your role at Platform.sh?
Right. So my role is solutions architect for OEM. That basically means two things, I guess. First thing is to pursue big, huge clients that we want to be on board with us and to have their platform with us. And the other thing is to essentially help them with their solutions and design solutions for them so that they can be happy.
Do you like your boss?
I'm not sure yet. What do you think?
Okay, we'll talk about that later. So
Yeah,
I also fondly remember the story of you being a customer because the organization that you worked with back in those days as a customer was actually kind of fundamental to the building of the Platform.sh strategy. I mean, several people have mentioned fleets of websites, but like your organization was the OG of fleets on Platform.sh. You were the first customer that we had that brought us 500 some sites. How many was it? Do you remember?
No, it wasn't that many. No, it was 150 to begin with. And then we started adding new ones.
What time does to the memory.
Incredible, isn't it? Yeah.
The fish was this big.
It's been inflated, right? So no, it was 150 websites based on Drupal back in those days. So we had our own Drupal distribution that we were developing in a house. And then we had 150 websites all using the same distribution. So that was kind of a challenge before platform.sh, and then it became easy after platform.sh. So,
well, that's great to hear. And as I understand it from talking to you, you were the person on the team there that spotted Platform.sh and lobbied hard for us. Is that right?
Well, essentially, yes. It's we can kind of unpack these as we talk, but it's kind of a funny story with me and platform.sh because there seems to be some sort of a hidden connection where I was thinking about a product that looked like platform.sh, and then all of a sudden you guys just popped out of nowhere and said, "Oh, look, they're doing exactly what I'm thinking." And what's funny about that, it's kept happening over the years. Even when I left that place and I started, I continued to work with platform.sh, behind the scenes for my own things. Oh, it'd be great if they did this, and then all of a sudden, a couple of months later, you come up with the exact that feature. So it's always been like this, very, very fun. So yeah, but back to your question, yes, it was me because I was in charge of solution architecture there, and so I was in charge of trying to find a solution, and you guys were the solution to our problems back then. So.
And I was on the sales team that actually helped make that happen. And so Vinnie and I sat across the table from each other in 5 or 6 meetings in London. Those days, you were living nearby at the time in London. Now you're someplace warmer.
Yeah, trying to be warmer. Yeah.
So go ahead. Oh,
no,
okay, great.
There you go. You go.
Well, I was gonna reference a comment that I made earlier about being on a team of one reporting to a team of one, right? Like
Yes.
you're the loneliest person in the company somehow. Does it feel
Supposed
that
to
way?
be, at least. Not much, no. It feels okay. I'm not quite sure if that's because I am naturally at the core an introvert, so I don't actually go and seek too many relationships. Even if I were in a physical office, you would see me sitting somewhere for by myself for most of the time, and then there would be just a couple of people that I interact with most of the day. But the reality is first thing, I'm used to remote work. This is not my first time. And second, it's kind of natural to interact with people here at Platform.sh. Even, I'm sure I could be better at that, but there is always an opportunity to interact with somebody that is not on my own team, clearly because there's nobody else on my own team. But so, yeah, all in all, I think it's all right.
Yeah. Wow. Amazing. So, would you describe the latest projects that you were working on with the WooCommerce plugin? I'm really excited about that work that you've been doing, and I just want it to be documented for posterity's sake that you're doing it.
Right. Okay. I wasn't expecting that question. Sure. So recently there was this discussion internally where some scenarios were considered that we don't normally cater for after the box, like if you want to resell your own applications that are hosted on Platform.sh, but in this scenario you really don't want you want to customize the process. Okay, so you don't want just to tell your customer, oh, here's your project, these all the full access you have to it, and just go and do whatever you're supposed to do. So in this case, the scenario is more bespoke. And so in the specific case that I was analyzing when I was writing the plugin for WooCommerce, is that essentially you wanted to resell something and then give the final customer just a limited access to the code base. So let's say Drupal, for example, again, and you want these people to only be able to develop themes and modules and not touch the rest of it. So, and you want to resell this kind of project. So what I did, I wrote a very rudimentary WooCommerce plugin that interacts with our own PHP SDK. And so it uses the API directly. And it does just a few things at the moment. So one of that is that you can add the new stock to your WooCommerce website, and that will provision your your projects behind the scenes on Platform.sh, so that you can quickly resell them later on. And then it keeps track. Go on.
So in other words, if you're a software vendor and you want to have a storefront where you sell hosted versions of your software, you can take your WooCommerce plugin, and that basically turns your WooCommerce site into a hosting company site based on Platform.sh.
Yeah, you can put it that way.
the straight to the point version. But yeah, there's a lot of cool detail in how you did that. So with the stock management, so that customers when they sign up, they instantly get a website that's hosted on Platform.sh. They don't have to wait for it to build or anything like that. Yeah, and I mean that's a different approach to a fleet, right? Like if you're a software vendor and you maybe, I think that what we often see is a software vendor where they've been distributing their software either as an open source product or with licensing of some sort, but it's really been software vendor, software user relationship, and the software is self-hosted, so the customers take it off and host it someplace else, and the software vendor is thinking, wow, we should be part of that. We could make a special offer where it's really well integrated, easy to set up, easy to get running, and then they could host it with us. And we your software, your plugin enables that out of the box, which I think is really cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Cool. Thank you, Vinnie. And I've really enjoyed your journey from customer to team member, and we get to work with each other a lot directly. So I've liked that too. So I saved you for last, kind of like the cherry on top, right? You're the cherry on top. I'm going to bring everybody back. Tyler, turn your camera back on. Now, originally we had 8 people, but Felipe had to go away for some reason, and the asymmetry of this arrangement is hard for me to take, especially since I had hoped we could all like figure out where we are and look over and like, oh, hi, Tyler, and wait, Vinny's over there, I guess.
Yes,
Paul and I are sadly the only ones on this call who remember the Brady Bunch from back in the day.
No, I'm with you there.
Okay, great. Like, you know, I get into real trouble with cultural references because like I live in a place that's not my own culture, and I'm older than everybody else around me, so like nobody understands anything ever. It's horrifying. So I was like racking my brain for a closing question for you guys, or like a joke or anything, but I don't have anything to close with. What do you guys have? Anything that you thought of while you were hearing each other's testimonies that you want to add or ask? Any questions? Any comments? Don't be shy.
I mean, I'll say I just found this Deploy Friday episode particularly interesting because I think this is the first time I'm kind of seeing the conversation from both sides, and I think there was a very interesting story told between everybody who commented on their experience. I didn't expect the responses to be so varied. Just no questions, but I just found that particularly interesting from everybody.
Thank you. Anybody else? No, you're all happy and great. Well, then I can't improve on that. And thank you everybody for being my guest and for sharing your testimonies with me and with the world, and for being great team members. I really appreciate that. Thank you, audience, for listening to our stories that we had to share with you, and come back next week for another episode. Thank you very much. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.